African Rift Valley, massive crack could split the continent in half. As we can see from the map here, Madagascar, which was once part of Africa, has already split off, as you can see. And this is the area where the Nile River originates from, by the way. And that if that part sloughs off, there'll not be any more Nile River. But there's also a super mantle plume under that area of Africa. A study released in June proposed that the rift is being propelled by a massive ejection of superheated rock originating from the planet's core. A colossal fissure tearing through the southeastern part of Africa might be an omen of a geographical shift according to recent scientific observations. This gigantic rupture, approximately 2,000 miles long, has been slowly stretching wider by about an inch every single year and may eventually divide the African continent in two, leading to the formation of Earth's sixth ocean. Countries nestled along the southeastern seaboard of Africa, stretching from Ethiopia to Mozambique, could end up as part of a gargantuan island, paving the way for fresh, vast expansion of sea. Eastern African Rift Zone, EARS for short. This geographical phenomenon, known as the Eastern African Rift, EARS, is believed to have initiated around 22 million years ago. However, a significant surge of activity over the past few decades has spurred a renewed scientific interest. In 2005, a noticeable crack emerged in the deserts of Ethiopia. This apparent manifestation of an ongoing tectonic process has been expanding at a rate of an inch every year. The East African Rift is a consequence of two tectonic plates, the Somali plate in the east and the Nubian plate in the west, slowly drifting apart. Although this has been known, the precise mechanisms behind this tectonic separation remained a mystery until recently. When will the continent split, though? A study released in June proposed that the rift is being propelled by a massive ejection of superheated rock originating from the planet's core. Despite this startling discovery, it's crucial to note that Africa is not expected to sever completely for at least another 5 million years. Once the split does occur, Somalia and parts of Ethiopia, Kenya and Tanzania will form a new continent. What we do not know is if this rifting will continue in its present pace or eventually open up an ocean basin like the Red Sea, and then later to something much larger like a small version of the Atlantic Ocean, said Ken McDonald, professor of the University of California, Santa Barbara. Or might it speed up and get there more quickly, or might it stall out as the Atlantic did before it commenced to true seafloor spreading? At the present rate, a sea about the size of the current Red Sea might form in about 20 to 30 million years. New cracks are appearing. Geologists have been monitoring the appearance of new cracks indicative of this ongoing shift. For instance, a 35-mile fissure that emerged in 2005 already suggests the formation of a new sea near Ethiopia. Furthermore, a separate fissure tore through Kenya in 2018 after heavy rainfall, prompting evacuations and causing disruption to roadways. McDonald believes that more such cracks will continue to appear due to the action of the Eastern African Rift. In 2008, crack, according to the geologist David Adede, was originally filled with volcanic ash. However, the intense rainfall washed away the material, leaving the underlying fissure, and while the process was gradual, some locals reported feeling the ground shaking, making the situation seem about abrupt and swift. Researchers have hypothesized that the expansion of EARS, the East African Rift Zone, is due to the Somali and Nubian tectonic plates drifting apart, a notion confirmed by a 2004 study conducted by researchers at Delft University of Technology in the Netherlands. The Eastern African Rift, stretching from the Gulf of Aden in the north to Zimbabwe in the south, is a complex system of deep valleys, steep escarpments, and volcanic peaks. It represents an ongoing process of continental rifting wherein Earth's crust is gradually pulled apart. And what is driving the rift? The Geological Society of London suggests that this tectonic phenomenon could be due to the heat flow from the asthenosphere, the hotter, weaker upper part of the Earth's mantle between Kenya and Ethiopia. Confirming this hypothesis, a recent study from Virginia Tech employed 3D simulations and discovered that the rift was indeed being driven by the so-called African superplume, which was responsible for the unusual deformations beneath the system. Geophysicist D. Sarah Stamps explained the different deformation styles of a rifting continent using an easy-to-understand analogy. If you hit silly putty with a hammer, it can actually crack and break. But if you slowly pull it apart, the silly putty stretches. So on different timescales, Earth's lithosphere behaves in different ways. Tahiri Raja Onarison, a postdoctorate researcher in New Mexico Tech, added, "We confirm previous ideas that lithospheric buoyancy forces are driving the rift, but we're bringing new insight into anomalous deformation can happen in East Africa." And the debate continues as scientists continue to investigate these geographical phenomena. The 2018 crack continues to spark debate within the scientific community, and while some believe it's a real-time indication of continental separation, others contend that such rapid progression is highly unlikely. Amidst this scientific discourse, people like Eliud Njoroge Bugua, a local resident, bear the brunt of these geological upheavals. Bugua claimed to have witnessed the crack splitting his home, and he barely managed to gather some of his possessions before the house collapsed. For now, the future course of the African continent's tectonic journey remains a matter of speculation and scientific discovery. This is by Chrissy Sexton via earth.com, and it's on Bended Reality. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. Please support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.